Hello everybody, and thanks for joining me today. I am Jim Coppinger, one of the principals here at ZenTech Consultants, and today we're going to get into another one of our ongoing series of BricsCAD for construction folks. Now today what I really want to talk about is the concept of what I call localized BIM, or working with building information models and 3D models in BricsCAD. Now, I know everybody who's listening went, nope, we're out, we're done, don't leave. I understand that the idea of working with 3D models and building information models for most people in the construction world seems crazy, right? Your thought is, I don't have the software for it, I don't have the knowledge for it, I don't have the skills for it. If I do need to deal with that, maybe you've got an in-house, VDC guy who handles all that data for you. It's not something that we can reliably do in the field, and blah, blah. There are a million reasons why we don't do it. And a lot of it really comes down to cost and complexity, right? And that's where BricsCAD BIM kind of comes in, right? It's just a simple upgrade to the basic BricsCAD Pro package we've talked about in other webinars in this series. But what's great about this is that when you're dealing with BricsCAD BIM, it's so simple for anyone to take any 3D BIM model, open it up, work with it, stroll through it, get information that you need, take measurements, right? And that's what I really want to show you today. So what I'm showing you right here to begin with, I have what was actually originally a Revit model, right? So I can just go right into BricsCAD BIM, right? And I can use it to just open up any existing RVT file, not a problem, right? And basic features and functions that we've talked about in previous sessions, like measurements, right? Nearest distance, work just as well in 3D as they do in 2D. So if I wanted to know like what's the length of this freeze board, right, I can use the nearest distance command to just pick that line, and then come over here and pick this line. You see it's telling me it's 8'4", 7/16. I know exactly what the distance is, and I can very, very easily here using BricsCAD BIM, I can very quickly go in and I can use it to walk through and work with items, right? So here I have the house, and maybe I'm looking at the house and I'm like, well, that's great, it's exterior walls. I need to see inside. And that's the kind of stuff that when you get into, more traditional, I don't want to beat up on anybody's software package here today, but the big package that we tend to think about, trying to manipulate and get to different views and so on is tough. Whereas here, I can just go in, if I want to get rid of this wall and these windows, I can just pick on the wall. Right? And you see that I can do it two ways. I can go up onto my ribbon bar up here, or I have a little tool called the quad tool that I can turn on that just kind of pops up. And you see that I can just go in and I can just hide any entities I have selected. So I can just hide that wall. Then if I want to go and say, the windows are still floating out here, they're in my way. So I can just pick these 4 windows and I can hide those. Now I can zoom in and pan, and if there are doors or windows or anything in my way, and I can just go in and I can use my shift key. Right, and my wheel button to just kind of zoom in and out and pan around to see exactly what's going on. I can walk down through hallways if there are doors and walls or anything in my way. Easy to just go back to those and say, hey, let's hide that wall. Let's turn off the roof. Right? I need to see what's on that floor. You see, it becomes very easy to go in and manipulate and show and work with the data that you need. And at any point, I can go back in and I can show all the entities again. I can also very easily go in and I can do a select similar items. So if I go in and I say, hey, let's grab that wall, I can just come up here and I can say select all similar items, right? And then I can just go ahead and hide those. So all the walls get turned off. I can do the same thing with the windows, turn off all the windows. Then I can just go back here and say show them all again. Right? Or if there's one specific item I wanted to focus on, maybe I wanted to focus on that beam, I need to get in and measure it and get some details, I can just go up here and say isolate that one entity. And you see I can actually now just zoom in and pan around and measure and do everything I need to do, right, around that specific item with no problem. Right? And then when I'm done, I can just go back up here and say show everything again. All right, so it's very easy to just go in and open up a Revit model in here and work with it in terms of displays and models and what you're doing. And it does also give you very, very easily all of the BIM data. So if, say, for example, this door, right, if I want to just go over here and just go to the properties, you see that all of the related BIM information, right, in terms of what kind of it's an aluminum wood door, it's double hung, right, double acting, what's the frame type, A1, what room number is it in, right? Any building information model that the architect or the engineers have included in this type of setup is here and easy for us to use. Right? And I've also got a whole nice real set ways of being able to look at it from different angles, left, right. I can look at it in the plan view, I can look at it from angles, right? And then I can just pan and zoom to wherever I want. So it's very, very easy to go in and work and manipulate overall existing Revit files and BIM models from other packages as well. Now, that's great, it's useful, it's very easy to use, but one of the things that I find particularly useful when I am dealing in the construction space, right, is that a lot of times you wind up, maybe you just don't have that BIM model. Right? Maybe you've got 2D plans, but you kind of need to look at and coordinate and start labeling things or verifying heights and clearances, etc., from wall to ceiling. And you need to kind of work a little bit in 3D, at least in tight or questionable areas. So you see that what I have here, I'm just going to kind of tilt this up. It's just a flat 2D floor plan. Nothing, special or specific going on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn on a little tool here. It's called Enable Boundary Detection, which means that when you go into kind of open spaces like in between the walls, you see how it kind of highlights. And then what I can do in here is I can just use an extrusion. I can just go and say, look, I just need to bring that wall up. And you see I can either drag it or I can actually type in a dimension. So if I know that this wall is going to be 12 foot high, I can just type 12 feet. And now you see, just like that, you've taken a basic 3D plan and you've generated for yourself everything that you need. Right? And then I can take those items, right, and I can select it. And then right in here, I can just go see there's a whole BIM tool and I can just classify that. That's a wall. Okay, and I can add wall data and more detailed information very, very easily. But in terms of construction, I want to classify it as well because now I can do something called defining spaces. So I can easily now go in and say, look, I just need to define a space for this. Right? And now there's a space for it and I can just go in and double click on it and I can edit it and say, what space is this, right? This is, room, 145 or 154 or whatever I type there. I can put in a description, what building it in, what story it's in. Right? And then that, when I generate it, right, that kind of shows up on my basic floor plan as a named room with all the square footage, everything already set and done. All the data is already set. Right? And using these walls, I can easily go in and measure and, check heights and clearances and conflict potentials as I'm moving equipment in or out. And it's very, very easy in here to do things like, draw columns and boxes and slabs for pieces of equipment and see if they'll fit through doorways. Using this kind of localized BIM structure, you don't necessarily have to have the whole building defined in 3D. You can just go in and do individual rooms or individual areas that you just want to verify. Right? And what's great about this is that it's very easy to just go over to our library of tools. And you see we've got a whole library here for different types of items for, I can go to home, you say I've got, doors and windows and stairs and furniture, etc. I'm just going to go to doors here real quickly. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to put in like a door or a window. So if I'm going to go in and say, look, you know what, I'm just going to put in a double glass pane door here on this side. You see, all I got to do is just drag it over here onto the wall. And you see it'll turn itself to whichever wall I'm on. Right, it'll rotate itself. So in this wall, what's great is I can use the tab key. See the dimensions? I can just use the tab key to set the dimensions. So I want it, 0. It's going to be 0 on the bottom, so it's right. It's flush. All right, and you see here, I can go ahead and say I got 5'3" on the left and 5'6" on the side. Let's say I'm going to put this at 5'4" from that corner. And just like that, it just puts in your door. And you see, it's a full-blown 3D door, all set, ready to go. Right, and you can adjust sizes and data, right? I can go in and I can go to the properties on this and I can adjust the door frame and the door size and the door width, etc. I can, I got the ability to go in and change all of that. See, I can change the depth of the frame, the glass, the width, the height to whatever I need it to be. Very, very easily. Right? But you can just put in kind of a generic door and adjust it and tool. And you can see, you can even see through it. It's a glass pane door. I can see what's going on inside. This is the kind of stuff that you can do in the construction world for verification and set to make sure that everything is going to work and fit in the real world without having to refer back to a full-blown RFI, involve the architect and the engineer and wait 3 weeks for responses to come back. This is the kind of thing that's very relevant to your work and that you can get the answers to just about anything you need here from the design in just a few minutes. And that's where you can really start to look at this and work with BricsCAD BIM. Right? And as I always do point out at the end of these presentations, they're beyond the functionality and the capabilities that it gives you, you're talking about a system, a program that in the case of the 3D stuff is far less than half the price of what you'd pay for the equivalent Revit package. So these are the kind of tools that I think everybody in the construction space should be looking at, and we'll talk more about other great construction tools in future episodes. I'll see you then.